Does drinking alcohol make you better at speaking a foreign language? Yes. Obviously, yes. Does painting zebra stripes on a cow reduce its risk of insect bites? Well, these are the types of half scientific and half ridiculous questions investigated by recipient of the Ig Nobel Prize, a show that celebrates research that first makes you laugh and then makes you think. I'm Grant with Phrasal Verb News, the show where you learn real English through real stories and walk away with something interesting to talk about with your colleagues. First, I'll break down the story, then explain the phrasal verbs with examples, y también les voy a dar una breve explicación en español para que todo quede más claro. Let's get started. They say science should push boundaries, but sometimes it also makes you laugh. That's the whole idea of the Ig Nobel Awards, held every year in Boston, complete with paper airplanes and even real Nobel laureates handing out prizes. And this year's winners did not disappoint. Scientists in Japan came up with a way to reduce fly bites on cows by painting them with zebra stripes. Turns out, stripy cows get almost 50% fewer bites. Meanwhile, in Togo, rainbow lizards at a holiday resort were tested to see which pizza toppings they liked best. And they turned out to prefer 4 cheese. Me too. Other winners included a man who spent 35 years tracking the growth of one fingernail, researchers who looked into whether drinking alcohol helps you get by in a foreign language, and a study about the effects of alcohol on bats' flying ability. Spoiler alert, it makes them worse. These projects might sound silly at first, but as experts point out, curiosity-driven research often paves the way for real breakthroughs later on. Just because a study sounds weird doesn't mean it won't lead to something important. So the next time you hear about cows in zebra outfits or pizza-loving lizards, remember, science isn't just about being serious. It's also about being curious. Let's move on to the vocab. I'll give you the definition, a couple examples, and a question. Try to practice the question out loud or in your head so you can use the new vocab right away. First, we have come up with. This means to invent, create, or think of an idea. For example, scientists in Japan came up with the idea of painting cows like zebras to avoid fly bites. We need to come up with a new strategy before the next quarter. En español es como inventar o idear. Por ejemplo, el equipo ideó una solución creativa para el problema. And a question. When was the last time you had to come up with a creative solution at work? Next, we have turn out. This means to result in a certain way, often a surprising way. For example, it turned out that rainbow lizards prefer 4-cheese pizza. The project turned out better than we expected. En español es como resultar. Por ejemplo, al final la reunión resultó muy productiva. And a question. Have you ever started a project that turned out very differently? Next, we have get by. This means to manage or survive in a situation, often with limited resources. For example, researchers studied whether alcohol helps people get by in a foreign language. I can get by in French during meetings, but I'm not fluent. En español es como sobrevivir o, hablando de los idiomas, es como defenderse. Por ejemplo, durante el viaje me defendí con el poco inglés que sabía. And a question. In what situations do you usually try to just get by instead of doing things correctly? Lastly, we have lead to. This means to cause something to happen or to result in something happening. For example, weird experiments might sound funny, but they can still lead to important discoveries later on. Poor communication can lead to mistakes and lost clients. En español es como conducir a o dar lugar a. Por ejemplo, la falta de preparación puede conducir a resultados negativos. And a question. What's a small mistake that could lead to a big problem at work? So, what's the lesson here? Sometimes the best science comes from curiosity. a few brave researchers came up with wild ideas that at first seemed ridiculous, but they turned out to reveal something interesting. Even lizards at a resort will go straight for the 4-cheese pizza, and sometimes a glass of wine really can help you get by in another language. It may sound silly, but these unusual studies often pave the way for deeper discoveries. And in the long run, curiosity-driven research can lead to breakthroughs none of us expect. Gracias por escuchar. I'm Grant with Phrasal Verb News. Come back next time for more news and more English. Thank you.